Culture. It's footy's buzzword. Every club aspires to a strong culture, but few know its secret.
The left foot around the corner, Bendy got it!
St Kilda and Melbourne have both hired new coaches to deliver the success their supporters crave.
Oh!
The Demons finished 17th last year and were the whipping boy of the competition. This year, Paul Roos is at the helm. Roos said the worse the job sounded, the more it attracted him. Tonight, he's coaching against an experienced campaigner whose mission is to change the culture of the Saints. Alan Richardson is his name.
Look at it, he's got it!
After a heartbreak of missing a flag in the Ross Lyon era, St Kilda's dramas on and off the field have taken their toll.
I'm really disappointed with that.
Can Alan Richardson save the Saints? Is Paul Roos Melbourne's messiah? Once tonight's final siren sounds, heaven and hell will seem a long way apart.
Saturday night footy, Etihad Stadium, the D's for the first time this year out onto this surface, and they have got a big year in front of them. Never mind just this game, they have got a massive year. In fact, they have lost the past 16 games at Etihad. The 16 games is the longest active losing streak of any club at a single venue. Darcy and Richo are with me. There is the Melbourne lineup, boys.
Yeah, and amazing to me, BT, as we sit here now, that team is starting favourite. I'm not saying that disrespectfully, because I actually think they'll win tonight. But who would have thought you'd start favourite Melbourne? Could have got players out. The change in the midfield for Melbourne is quite extraordinary, Richard. The additions of Bernie Vince, Daniel Cross, Dom Tyson, Jack Watts to play there is something I can't wait to see tonight.
Sorry, Richard.
On the flip side, the St Kilda midfield is decimated tonight without Montagna and Hayes and the best and fairest winner, Jack Stevens. So I think Melbourne do have an edge in that midfield tonight, BT.
Yeah, they've come off a pretty ordinary summer, haven't they, when you suggest they lost their CEO, a dwarf being lit on fire at one stage, and they sacked their coach as well, Darcy. It's been a horrific time, but I think they're over the hill now, and they're ready to go.
Yeah, everyone's ready to go now. And there's an addition there in that defence. They've been looking for a key defender for a while, and they've gone and got Delaney from North Melbourne. He'll steal them up a little bit there. But as we said, the midfield is the big talking point tonight for the Saints. Who's going to step up, Darcy, in the absence of those stars and regular senior players?
Big challenge for David Armitage. He's got an enormous job. Farron Ray has been around for a long while now. He has to really shoot the lights out for me to compete.
And really big raps on young Dunstan. They led the club in clearances over the summer, BT. Looking forward to seeing him.
Cameron Ling is with new St Kilda coach Alan Richardson.
Well, Richo, your first game as coach of an AFL club. How are your nerves?
No, pretty good, Lingy. I think because we've had so much to worry about. You're worrying about the 22 blokes that play. You're putting a program together, so it's come on pretty quickly. So I'm sure they'll build depending on how the game goes.
It's a young side you've got in, missing a couple of experienced key players. What are your expectations of tonight?
We compete really strongly. Lingy, our focus all pre-season is to be a really good contested ball team, that we value team defence. That's really how we'll review this performance.
Have you got a read on how you think Melbourne will play, having watched them a bit in the pre-season?
Yeah, no doubt that Roosy's brought a bit of the Sydney model, the kick and catch from defence. If they can, they'll go quick. If not, they'll be fairly composed, not unlike perhaps the Bombers last night.
Appreciate your time. Good luck tonight and enjoy the night.
Alan Richardson got a big job. His second game as an AFL coach. Of course, he coached one game last year for Port Adelaide. And we're looking for some big things this year. Will they come tonight from this man? We know he can jump and take the hanger, and we are looking forward to seeing Jeremy Howe absolutely go for it, as he has done in past years. He has supplied highlight after highlight, and there's not a game that doesn't go by without Jeremy Howe being involved, especially in the air.
Takes a thrilling mark.
This is Fiona.
St Kilda home game tonight. That man there, Nathan Jones, captaining his side, or co-captaining his side for the first time, along with Jack Grimes this year.
Okay.
We know about Nick Rewald, of course.
AFL or Saints. Okay, so your call. AFL's the call? Yep. AFL. Great.
No longer heads and tails, Darcy. I never knew that. It's AFL up or down.
Got the AFL official coin. They own everything, the AFL these days. And
come on.
It's a little win for Nath Jones, his first time as co-captain. And I reckon both sides are not sure that they can win tonight, Richo. They haven't had great confidence. Melbourne obviously just haven't won games at all for 2 years, essentially. And I reckon St Kilda are a bit nervous. They're not sure how they're going to go with so many players out. Who do you think's going to win?
I've tipped St Kilda, but not with any great confidence. I think one of the reasons is there's still a couple of superstars out there. Obviously, Nick Riewoldt, the captain and champion for so long. If the Saints can get enough ball down there, he may be the one that can provide the match-winning ability for them. On the other hand, Melbourne, their forward line, you looked at it pre-season and you thought, you know, they may have Clark down their back, they'll have Dawes and young Hogan. We're really excited to see. None of them are out there tonight, so that a lot rests on Jeremy Howe. He's the one player down there that is probably capable of kicking 4 or 5 goals.
Bristol, I reckon from a Melbourne supporter's point of view tonight, you just want to see a competitive edge that Paul Roos has brought to this team and what he has been able to do, and so too for Alan Richardson on debut tonight.
Well, here we go. Spencer and Hickey to battle it out. First game under Paul Roos. A lot of expectation. Both sides, new coaches. What do we end up with at the end of the night? Wearing the old number 26 of Nick Del Santo, one of the youngsters in Curran. And if that's an indication of what we're coming tonight, it's going to be good. Frawley with an aggressive tackle.
The new co-captain at Melbourne has got the matchup of Geary, I think, is Jones, who's had a terrific couple of years up against it. Not a lot of support in the middle. He's got Geary playing him tightly.
Gilbert, right on the logo. Howe was in and about there. Little handball came out eventually from Fitzpatrick, and now swiftly inside the 50. Pedersen there, trying to get it on the end of it. Couldn't do much about it. Webster was good. Great little kickers. Webster, left footer. Keep an eye on him tonight. He's one of the best kicks in the team. Trengove went forward and won himself a free against Robertson. Little kick sideways. Finding Tyson, Dom Tyson, of course. Lyndon Dunn, one of the old campaigners for Melbourne, drives the footy inside 50. Flew for the footy there. Delaney couldn't mark. Dempster, quick kick out, and Mark's been paid to Tumpus.
Always a risky proposition with a quick kick out of the pack in defensive 50. Didn't get enough onto it, and Tumpus now has the chance. Darst, have a look at this.
Just wanted to quickly,
again.
James Frawley, that was a pressure tackle. We'll go to the James Frawley one in a minute, but good pressure. I reckon this was a statement, as BT just called. 14 seconds in, Frawley absolutely ragdolls the first opportunity, and I think that was a really big statement.
He's playing in his 15th game, Jimmy Tumpus, and yet to snag a goal, and here's his opportunity. Little stutter in the middle of that, and he's got that online, hasn't he? Melbourne with the first. Joins the club, his 94th kick there, Jimmy Tumpus, first goal. There'd be a lot in that club, I reckon.
Yeah, the number 4 draft pick, the Tump, and a bit of excitement. That's a great result for him. A bit of confidence early in season 2014.
Jones out of the middle for the Demons. And good grab taken in the end by Vince. Bernie Vince, former Crow.
He can normally kick the ball pretty long, Bernie Vince. I've seen him kick goals from here for the Crows a number of times.
Well, he's gone back, he's checked the mark just to make sure exactly where it is. So he must think he's right there, Richo, as you point out.
Looks confident, BT.
He does. Bernie Vince, without a great momentum in the run-up, it's gone really high, won't get there in the end, and Hickey stands on the line.
I was really interested coming into tonight's game to see what Jack Watts' role would be and how Paul Roos would use him. He started forward, pushed up on ball, and then started that last centre bounce as a wingman. So Paul Roos obviously wanting to use his incredible running ability to their advantage.
Black armbands tonight, of course, for the former Melbourne coach, Dean Bailey. Spent 4 years at this club. Grimes, fast hands, Turlick. Turns and goes. Down they go. Tumpus the target. Punched away by Webster.
Hey, Lingy, it's a big year for Trengove. The captaincy's been lifted off his shoulders. What are your thoughts on him this year?
Yeah, good move, that one, probably. Just allow him to play footy. We know he's a quality footballer. He's a great young man. Yeah, just let him play without the cares of the world on his shoulders, and I reckon you're going to see a much improved Jack Trengove this season compared to the last couple of years.
He won that free, Jones, because he was just more desperate than anyone else to get the pill.
And as you see, Geary all over him, so he's got a tight tag tonight, Nate Jones.
Does that mean Clint Jones is not likely to do the same role?
I reckon they might have had to free him up tonight with so many midfielders out as that one goes out of bounds. And Lenny Hayes is injured, no Joey Montana tonight. Alsando's gone from their midfield last year. Jack Stephen was best star last year, best and fairest winner. So I think it's a smart call from Alan Richardson first up, that to free him up to win some footy.
Hickey, Jones again in everything at the moment, Jones. Quick handball out, looking for and finding his teammate there, and Vince eventually running away the footy with Armitage, but he let it go. Trengove to Watts. Got the give and go back, and just going around the perimeter of the 50 at the moment. Lyndon Dunn says, steady, boys.
Already Melbourne look a lot more organised. They've been able to get this forward press going behind the ball. They had good structure.
Goes wide, and Pedersen flew, couldn't hold the mark, and Trengove sees it over the line.
Richard, that is exactly the sentiments that I was looking at. It's very, I haven't seen Melbourne before, have people in the right places. They look composed. They've got defensive players pushing back at the right time. And as you said, they've got a forward press going and been able to apply enough pressure to keep the footy in their forward half of the ground.
He is absolutely everywhere at the moment, Jones. Trengove, back, Grimes, in amongst it. McDonald had an opportunity to get rid of the footy, didn't go far. One around along the ground, Webster, fast hands, Watts. Opportunity, went sideways, found the target, Turling. Back to the better kicker in Watts. He tried to take Savage on. Back to Turling, who goes for home. Got a couple of Ds.
Well, Richo, this is just great to see, isn't it? Jack Watts tucking the ball under his arm, taking the game on, giving off the handball. Got to see more of that.
Yeah, no doubt. But the structure they had there, Lingy, was just first rate. The quick kick came out from the Saints. They had a lot of numbers there, set up in great position, then they just worked the handball across. It was great play.
246 kicks for his first goal, Turlick. What about that? And now Melbourne in defence. We get a first look at him deep in the opposition's half of the ground. Trengove's got to go. Farron Ray's with him. Very consistent as Farron Ray, and he doesn't let Trengove go in this one.
Well, good one-on-one contest. That was a bit stiff. I thought there was Trengove, the former captain, Farron Ray. I think I might have said he dragged that one back in. I just want to make the point that Lee said before. Jack Watts over 20 tested at the Institute of Sport in the absolute elite bracket, but we haven't seen it. First up under Paul Roos, he's using his speed. That's a good thing.
Frawley, fast hands. So the Demons looking reasonably organised, as the boys have pointed out. Quick hands once again. Jones couldn't quite control it on that occasion. Now St Kilda just starting to crack in here as well.
Just pan back and have a look at that. That's a really good example of what Melbourne already bring to the table. So their defence is getting support. There's 2 or 3 zoned back. It's very much the Sydney Swans under Paul Roos, and they've been scored against so heavily. He's going to make sure their defence gets a lot of support.
Bowled over on that occasion was Mitchie Richo.
The St Kilda forwards just got drawn into the contest there, and a couple of players were just sitting back. Lyndon Dunn was one of them. And then when they win the footy, they can run and spread like this. The Saints are a beast to a honeypot.
McDonald pursued by Rewalt, takes him on. What about the confidence of the tall defender? He ran out of tarmac in the end.
Might have been just a touch of overconfidence there, I would have thought. Young Tommy McDonald only played 39 games before tonight.
Great to see him taking the game on, though, isn't it? Generally at 6'5", 6'6", bounce is always a questionable choice at times.
Robertson sends it long and high. Meister is there. Couldn't catch it over the back. Jones, quick release of the hands again, and Grimes in all at the moment. Spot on kick, found Pedersen.
Some of the happiest people in the world right now are the key defenders, James Frawley, young man Tommy McDonald. They have suddenly got defenders dropping off to help them out. They haven't had it for a while.
Big Fitzy presenting up and taking the mark.
At the end of the day, you don't really want your key defenders having to defend one out all the time. You want support coming in the air and getting back at ground level when the ball hits the ground. And already they're showing signs of being able to do that, the D's.
Tumpa's there wanted to come to the bench, and there was no one to come on. They'd all just gone off. Dunn with a spearing ball to Watts. Terrific kick. Outside run is good as well. Frawley now looking to find the target. The big fella couldn't quite get hold of it. Through they come. Webster was there. Opportunity for Wright. Real hard nut. Running wide Jones. Could have gone on his left. Noons. Rewalt. Jones again. No real control here for the Saints at the moment. And too high, says the umpire. This is better. Back to Dempster. Got two options. Robertson is the wide one if he wants.
Melbourne were the ones who forced that kick there to go back the other side of the ground because they'd really slid across well, covered all the outlets for St Kilda. Really, as you boys have touched on, really well organised defence then, where we thought St Kilda were going to come out to the open side of the ground. Melbourne were able to shut it down.
You see Rewalt there, Richard. I know you used to do this, marking the ball at half-back, and people will say, why is he not back in the forward half? But it's all about now you really can work your opponent over again, can't you?
Well, that's his great strength, his work rate. So there's a poor kick coming out of defence there. He likes to work his opponents over right up the ground, and then he gets them on the way back every time, Nick Rewalt. St Kilda just can't get their hands on the football at the moment. In Melbourne, their uncontested possession count is really good. Last year, they struggled to win the footy on the outside. Good signs.
I think it'll be Delaney here that gets the free. It might be Vince instead. It is.
It's Bernie.
Maybe just a metre outside his range last time. This one, he'll be able to kick the journey if he strikes it well.
His teammates will get around him, Darcy, if this goes through.
It was careless from Delaney, wasn't it? Vince with the little bit of a slider. There it is. Look at it slide back now, Richo. Started it nearly at the point post.
He started it in the right spot, though. A lot of players still haven't adjusted to that. It's been happening for years here at Etihad. I still don't know why, though.
No, it's not conclusive just yet, but
it doesn't appear to be any great gap down there for a wind to come through.
Idiosyncrasy of the ground. So really had most of the footy in their half of the ground here, the Demons. Net result for them, 2 goals. Spencer trying to lock it inside. Hickey there as well. Jones around the edge. Quick hands. Trengove, little kick inside 50. A lot of defenders for the Saints there. Dempster, good grab.
So both sides have got numbers back. And St Kilda on that occasion through Dempster able to win it. But what Melbourne are doing, they're closing space brilliantly well. Their pressure skills are through the roof here at the moment. That one's going to go out of bounds. But one of the great things Paul Roos does as a coach for me, Richo, is you feel like he's got an extra man on the ground because he gets numbers back in the right position and then they run so hard forward that you're never really out of the contest.
And it's not just the tackle numbers. They've only had the 7 tackles, but it's just the pressure. As soon as the St Kilda player gets it at the moment, they've got to make a decision straight away. Invariably, you turn the footy over.
McDonald doing quite well at the moment in that key role. Here's Frawley.
They've got numbers out the other side of the ground.
Done this 3 or 4 times, Richo, haven't they?
They're spreading hard.
Indeed, involved was Cross, and he goes up towards Bale. Can't keep his feet, Gilbert. Gives Bale the opportunity to slip in. Looks for some running support. Had to go backwards seeking it. Now an opportunity for Mitchie. Spearing ball. On the lead. Couldn't get it, Pedersen. Turnaround kick. Just a little too much on it. St Kilda under enormous pressure. Jones on Templeton. Smacking in at the moment they are. Dunstan's in there.
The thing that's going to take a bit more time is the skill and the delivery under pressure, because that's a learnt thing and you have to adapt to that as Alan Richardson throws his arms out. But what he's got already is he's got the fanatical competitive spirit out of this Melbourne side. It's actually eyes popping out of your head stuff. It feels like watching a different footy club already.
There's another one of those rush kicks out of a stoppage in the back 50. And Melbourne just got the outlet players covered beautifully. And Bernie Vince will have his 3rd shot at goal. His 8th disposal, 6 contested. He's leading the way.
And all those shots roughly within this area here. Similar distance. This time a touch closer. And that is on the line. A little bit of drift late. 2 posters for Bernie.
What a great start for him, though.
Gee, what a pick up Bernie Vince is, though. He's had those 3 shots at goal, like you said, Richo, but he just provides that bit of experience, bit of composure, and you can see where he's running at the moment. He's not just chasing the footy like a madman. He's running to some really good spots on the ground and setting them up well. Great pick-up over the off-season.
Bernie with just a little bit of premature celebration there, I thought, in that replay. Here's Stanley. Inside 50. Hickey's there, but over his head by a long way, and Lyndon Dunn gets back. He's got McDonald wide. Been good early, McDonald. That kicks out of bounds on the full load.
Mark's right where you are now.
Nick Grewal is 1-on-1 there. You've got to get it in quickly to him now.
It's Tom Curran.
Move it on.
Taking a while. It goes wide. I wonder why he popped the ball there. So easy for the defence to knock it out there. Don Tyson brings it back inside dangerously. And the mark taken by Dunstan.
Thanks, guys. Right, Shannon, that's good, mate. Where are you?
Yeah, just a basic skill error from Don Tyson. It was a poor decision, and that really needed to go about 40 metres further out, kick the boot into it, unless you had a perfect target. And former GWS Giant, part of the trade swap, he's just learning as they go. It's going to take some time to teach that.
First game of Luke Dunstan. Left footer, captain of the South Australian under-18 side. And he misses to the right-hand side.
Some big raps on this man, though. Dunstan led them in clearances over the pre-season, and I think I heard him talking during the week that he's been doing a lot of work with Lenny Hayes at training.
Played senior footy too, Richo, in the SANFL last year. I think it was Woodville West Torrens. So he's already played at the senior big body level.
He's got a decent frame already, hasn't he, for a first game of Luke Dunstan.
I'm not sure who that's going to be against.
Here it is. Thank you. Dragged it in, Cam. Play on.
Heard the umpire say there, I think it was against Pedersen. Dempster with the resultant free, and now Clint Jones. What does he do? Goes top of the square. Stanley's got a chance. Nunes could have flown from the back. He decided to stay in a disciplined manner. Melbourne with lots of jumpers around here. Little quick handball in there. Came from Curran, and eventually a snap by Saunders.
Now this is a chance for St Kilda to set something up with this kick in and try and lock it in and give them another opportunity to score.
McDonald the target again. Boy, have they looked for him a lot as a big fella. Quick movement of the ball here. Mitchie again, who's had a bit of it. Tumpus already kicked the goal.
2 actions.
2 actions, said the umpire.
I heard Paul Roos say one of the things he's really looking forward to is actually playing some games so they had tapes to review and not old footage, so they can go back. And I think that will be something that you'll see. The decision-making in this first quarter has let them down a bit. Their effort and their tackling has been sensational. Just a couple of really poor decisions.
This kick's the one so far for the Saints. Haven't been able to find a time.
Yeah, it's good. Stanley dropped the sitter, Richo. It was there. It was a really good kick. Now Farron Ray. High footy. Geary coming at it. And Nunes.
It's a big year for Reece Stanley. He's been around for a while now. Here's the free kick against Tumpus. Gee, it was marginal. 2 actions. There, he has to take that mark, Reece Stanley. He's been around for 3 or 4 years now. It's time for him to really start stepping up.
Can do a bit of ruck work in this game too, by the looks. Reece Stanley help out Hickey. Farron Ray with a quick snap around the body. Lyndon Dunn right on the line.
Come back and come back. Come on. Yep. Okay. Score review. Umpire's call is a touch behind. Can you just check, please?
I think almost certainly.
We think it's a touch. Okay. So.
Yep, that is a touch behind.
That's the one where the old helmet cam would have been good in the umpire there.
All clear.
Helmet. Yeah, helmet cam. Right on the goal line, he was in perfect position. The helmet cam would have shown that clearly. Well, hat cam, it's probably a hat, isn't it? Not a helmet.
There's Cross. has been a prolific worker for the Bulldogs over many years. Always been immaculately presented in terms of fitness.
I've never ever seen anyone train harder or be more professional than that man Daniel Cross. And if I know Paul Roos well enough, he would have just been happy to get him there. This is set an example of how hard to train. He looks great again, Daniel Cross.
Tumpus. Fast little hands, got it out the back door as well, Jimmy Tumpus. Now Trengo makes some forward movement. Burns. Quick ball in, Dempster in front, did well to block out Pedersen.
The past couple of seasons, Melbourne was setting records for not being able to win the footy. They just didn't have enough possession winners. Well, Paul Roos is really arresting that already. They have gone in the pre-season to, alongside Hawthorn, the #1 short-kicking team in the game. So already you can just see they get the footy in their hands a lot more. And their leading disposals 85 to 58. So it's just a confidence thing. You've got to have the footy in your hands to do anything with it, which is the most obvious statement you can make. But it's a big change of style.
And the Saints just starting to win a little bit of contested footy now, which would please Alan Richardson. Just starting to work their way ever so slightly back into this. But they're 2 goals adrift, and Wright sees it over the line.
It obviously helps when you're really confident in your structure. Every player knows where they're meant to be standing at any given time, because then when you win the footy, it's a lot easier to maintain possession. If every player is on the same page, and already Melbourne is showing that.
Stanley, there he is, on the other end doing the ruck work now, giving Hickey a bit of a spell. Trengo's had plenty of the footy already, gives it back to Grimes. Grimes not so good there.
St Kilda need to fix up at the back of the stoppages. Melbourne are just feeding out the back every time. You mentioned how much of the footy Trengo's had, BT. Most of the time, they're just feeding the ball backwards through handball to him, and then he's kicking the ball forward. St Kilda have got to have somebody around that side to start picking it off.
Turlick. Go again, this time Stanley there. So while the Demons got off to a nice start, you just get the feeling St Kilda starting to be a little more competitive now, without a result yet, though. Still very much poised here. Tom Tyson with the clearing kick from the stoppage out over the back. Saints with some numbers. Gilbert likes the left foot, remember. Bounce here at half-back. Chiseling ball. Gee, it was kicked behind Rewalt. Maybe it was meant for Meister. Now Jones on the right, making it hard for Rewalt. Jones goes again. This time looking for Templeton. He takes the mark. Too far out to score.
It was his first touch in league football, Templeton.
Eli Templeton. From 55, top of the square kick. Dangerous spot for the Demons' defence here. Watts jumps over a body. Underground handball to Jones, and now Turlick. Kick in hurry. Really well done by Gilbert to keep it alive. Now Rewalt needed someone coming from the other direction. Gives it to the former Hawk and Savage. He tries to chip one in. They fly. I think Trengo's got a hand and it was. Can they counter-attack out the other side now? An opportunity for Cross to start it off. Kick to Tumpus on the wing. Keeps his feet. How crucial was that? Jimmy Tumpus looking pretty good in this game. The inside run is good as well from Burns. Back to Tumpus. Can he get around? He does. And the kick just let him down with Saunders getting in the way.
So Jack Watts was on his own for an eternity there.
That's not a good sign.
If St Kilda can move the ball quick here, Tommy McDonald very sore. It's very proppy.
Really sore, Lingy. And here's Stanley as well. And they did it quickly.
Yeah, that was great. Good ball movement. And Reece Stanley has gone into the ruck now. And he made Big Spencer chase him, and that's what he has to do. He has more athleticism than Spencer, and if he gets the opportunity in the ruck, he needs to push hard forward.
Not good for the Demons here. McDonald in trouble, and Howe in trouble as well. McDonald coming from the ground. Stanley from 25 metres for the Saints' first goal, and he kicks it. Good drop punt kick from Reece Stanley. had a look at where he's standing in the rooms before the game, guys. He's taller than you think he is. He's a big man, and thus a little bit of ruck work today.
It's 200 centimetres, BT.
Yeah.
That's Ruckman.
I thought he was almost bigger than their #1 ruckman, and Hickey. He's massive. Jones. Gathering a difficult footy. Did well. Fed it out the back to Dempster. Dempster no fuss. Here comes Stanley again. Needs to spoil. Did well. He wasn't in a position to mark. Turek was brave.
Focused a lot on what Paul Roos is bringing to the table because there's so much interest in that. But don't underestimate Alan Richardson as well. He's been around the system for a long period of time. He'll demand his players are competitive. He'll demand they tackle hard. And you're just seeing a bit of that here. They really found their feet a bit in the last 5 minutes.
Well, they were 18th for pressure last year, and that was pressure then from Templeton. Didn't lay a tackle, but made Frawley kick in a hurry.
Well, 18th for pressure acts last year, Richo. And just if the NAB Cup's any indication, we don't always think it is. They're #1 in the NAB Cup this year, so already those contested pressure acts are up for St Kilda. Fitzpatrick, a really good grab in front of Gwilt.
Well, he's got a big height advantage on Gwilt, and he used every bit of it there.
Still a reasonably open forward line, deep in spots like this here. Watts gets back, but he's got to beat a couple.
A great kick in the end from big Fitzy. That's what I think eventually Jack Watts will use to his advantage. Playing midfield, Richo, a bit like you did late in your career when you went on the wing, and then push forward on a smaller opponent and get them off guard, making him play as a defender.
Giorgio to Lyndon Dunn. Dunn was going back in the middle, decided to go down the line. Watts desperate, didn't quite get hold of it. In the end, Noons. Jones involved again, and now Gwilt to try and shoot them off the full-back line. Siren sounds as the ball lands with Curran, and an interesting first quarter as Vince wants to just prove a thing or two against the youngster in Tommy Curran. And a good first quarter, and things just starting to escalate here now as Big Hickey comes in and wanting to go on with it. Trengove steps in and says, come on, let's do it. We like it. Melbourne at quarter time by 5 points.